underneath the lovely London sky.
Hello, welcome back to my channel, and shockingly this is not Twilight content. Now I feel like most of my life is about Twilight now, and I'm going to mention Twilight in this video, but this video is about therapy and why I think it helped me a lot, and why I think that if you are thinking about therapy then you definitely should just go for it. Because I don't think there's anything better that you can do to help yourself out than to have a third-party, unbiased person who knows what they're talking about take a look at your life and tell you things that you might not have realized or put things together. So for me, I applied to the UCL therapy counseling service back in November. I don't know what came over me, because people had been telling me that I should talk to someone for a while, but I just didn't. I had this mindset that I know that I don't have any sort of diagnosable mental health condition, and so I thought, well, I don't want to take away the services from somebody who does have a condition that needs more help than me. But that is not the case. Just because somebody needs help more than you doesn't mean that you shouldn't get help. There should be enough help all around, and that's a whole different problem, that there isn't enough help, especially in UCL. However, I was in my old flat with my best friends, and we were watching, I think we were watching the original Charlie in the Chocolate Factory. I think it's called Willy Wonka in the Chocolate Factory, the original one, the one with the scary boat. And we were in my room watching it. We normally watch things in the kitchen, but we were in my room. And I remember just getting my laptop out and being like, I'm just gonna go for it. And then I got my assessment appointment for February, and there's actually a vlog on my channel that I'll link up here on the day that I went to that, which that appointment came around just when I needed it, because that was when I had to leave my old flat. That was the week in between me finding out and me moving out. So I was not in the best of places back then, very upset about the prospect of leaving flat 4, which I'm okay with it now. And I think if I would have been quarantined in a flat as small as that without a living room, I would have gone insane, and so would everyone else in the flat 4. So it was good that I did move out just before quarantine happened. However, it wasn't a very nice thing to go through. And so there's things in my past that have happened. Like most people, they don't really want to talk about it online. So there's things that sort of I pushed down a lot and were reappearing, and they were getting in the way of my day-to-day life. So I decided, now was the time to talk to someone about it. And what I've found through talking to someone about it is that there's so many other aspects of my life that I never really thought about being a huge problem or still impacting me now. And with the help of my wonderful therapist, I have found out that a lot of the things that I do are not just totally random, crazy Ashley. They're actually related, and a lot of the things that I do make total sense with the experience and the life experience that I have. And one of these things is that I have an uncontrollable fear of disappointing people. That is my biggest fear, and it stops me reaching out for help, especially reaching out to my parents for help, especially when it comes to money things and general adulting things. I get really embarrassed, and I just don't ask for help when I need it, and then I let a situation get out of control before I ask for help. And we sort of figured out why, and sadly it is linked to my experience with the doctors about my weight, which makes sense because I've told this story many times on my channel. I have a video called My Fat Story, which I will link, but I also have a video called My Fat Story Why I Was Wrong, and I'll link that here too and in the description. But the premise is I went to the doctors 4, 5, 6 times a year about my weight, and every time I went I would have gained weight or not lost any weight, and it felt horrible because the doctors were wanting me to lose weight. My parents wanted to know why I wasn't losing weight, and we're following the doctor's advice and it still didn't work, and it made me feel horrible, and talking about it to this day is not very nice. And we sort of figured out that a lot of the causes to things that I do that aren't beneficial to me at all come from the fact that experience was so ingrained into me that I'm a disappointment, that I'm terrified of asking for help. And it sorted out the problem that I think it sorted out the problem that I originally went for, but it's helped me to look at my life and figure out, you know, and put things together and understand why I do the things that I do and maybe stop myself from doing the things that I shouldn't do. Another thing that I wanted to say, that last appointment, which was on Thursday, today is Saturday, I talked about how much the nostalgia of the Twilight like renaissance right now doesn't just feel like nostalgia to me. It feels like I'm regressing a little, and I think that's because before, when I liked Twilight originally, I didn't really have any of the trauma that I go to therapy for. So I also asked for some questions, and I'm going to answer them right now. I got a reply on Twitter. Oh, it's from my boyfriend's mom. So the first question that I got, is it worth it for just a few sessions? Now, I think totally yes, for two reasons. A, if you're like me, and you don't have a mental health condition, but there's something that you want to talk about, go. Because usually a small amount of sessions will be enough. If it's something that, you know, you can tackle and you can talk about how to deal with it and you can talk about it, usually a few sessions is enough. And if you have something bigger going on, or you do have some sort of condition that you need to monitor for a longer period of time, it gives you the time to completely understand what is going on and then help you look for somebody who will be able to help you and manage that. So I think even if it's only originally going to be 6 sessions like the UCL services provide, it's well worth it to go and just assess the situation, because sometimes one assessment doesn't fully sort of fix the problem, if that makes sense. Because like in my first assessment, I spoke about a few things, but we didn't really get to the core root of the problem until session 2.5. So I think that it's worth it, definitely. The next question is, how did you find your therapist? So for me, I just applied through the UCL services, and Miriam is the person that got assigned to me, and I'm the type of person who I can tell anything to anyone. I'm a very, very open person. I am one of the most extroverted extroverts you'll ever meet in your entire life. And so for me, I don't find it difficult to open up to people and feel comfortable with people. That's just not something that I struggle with. But if you do struggle with opening up to people, or, you know, finding the right person, it might take you a bit longer. And I personally don't know how that would work in a service like a university service. But it does not mean that you won't find the right person in the services that are available to you, because therapists are really nice people. I don't think that's the best question for me to answer, because I am such an open person anyway, and I don't think I would have had trouble with anyone. But I know that if some people have a religious background and they come from like a more spiritual place, that it might be helpful to have somebody from that same background. But what I do know is on the original form, it did give you a lot of questions about yourself and whether that was something that you were looking for in your like therapist. Right, so I just started therapy. Session 4 is on Monday, and I'm just wondering if it gets any less awkward. I swear the last 15 minutes we both just sit in silence. So for me, this does not happen because I cannot stop talking about myself. Maybe that is a fatal flaw of mine, but it's the truth. So I don't find that I'd struggle with that. We always overrun. And Miriam, the only thing she says is, oh, I was just wondering, do you think this might be connected to this? And that's basically all she says like the entire time. And I just talk and make really strange metaphors. But I have never experienced that. But what I think, if you're finding that, is either you have to wait a little bit longer to feel fully comfortable with the therapist to open up and have that awkwardness sort of fade away. But if you're having this extra time, think about, is there something that you haven't talked about that you want to talk about? Because you might be holding back something that you don't want to talk about, and that's why you have this like awkward time, you know? So maybe it's you don't feel comfortable yet and it'll just take a little bit more time. Or maybe you're holding back something that you really should be talking about because it's going to help you. I don't know what your situation is, but that is my advice. I don't know. Thank you for watching this video. This is the second time that I filmed this video. The first time I filmed it, it was the most awkward thing ever, and I would have had to cut out half of it. And also, I hated the background that I chose. I don't know why I was like gonna switch it up when I like this background. This background is nice. It's interesting, yet, you know, it can sit in the background, whereas out of the background was not nice. Thanks for watching this video. I hope you find it really helpful. If you want to see more of me in your subscription box, please subscribe and ring the bell and give me a like and a comment if you had any advice for the people who asked these questions. I kept them anonymous because I don't know whether you want people to know who you are. Thanks for being faithful, and thanks for watching. Mwah.